Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really fascinating and ancient theory of creation. It's one that suggests the universe didn't just pop into existence, but was, in a way, switched on, kind of like flicking a light switch in a totally dark room. So let's just jump right in with one of the biggest questions you can possibly ask. For a minute, let's forget about the Big Bang and just think about this. What if the universe didn't start with a bang, but with a flicker? A moment of pure activation. This explainer is based on an ancient Vedic text, the Vichakshana Vāk, and it puts forward a really unique idea. It says that creation isn't about making something out of nothing. Instead, it's about taking what already exists in this dormant state and making it active. It's all about that shift from everything being possible to something finally being actual. Okay, so to really get this, we have to go back, way, way back, before the beginning, to a state the text calls unmanifest. So what does that even mean? Well, think of it like this. You've got all the ingredients to bake a cake sitting on your kitchen counter. The flour, the sugar, the eggs, everything is right there. But it's not a cake, is it? Not until you mix them, apply heat, and actually activate their properties. That's the unmanifest universe. All the building blocks exist, but they're completely dormant, unable to interact with each other at all. And that, right there, is the heart of this whole idea. The very first step of creation isn't about forming matter, it's about awakening it. The universe has to transition from this passive, unmanifest state to a manifest state, where properties like energy and motion are suddenly switched on, and only then can the real work of creation begin. So once the universe is activated, what's next? Well, the text says, two fundamental types of particles emerge. And honestly, they could not be more different from each other. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting, this kind of cosmic dualism. On one hand, you've got these deva particles. Think of them as the reliable, steady construction workers of the universe. Their motion is predictable, their function is stable, and they are absolutely essential for building things that last. But then, on the other hand, you have the manuṣya particles. These are more like sparks from a fire. Yeah, they're bright and energetic, but their behavior is erratic, and they're gone in a flash. They exist, but they just aren't reliable enough to be the ones building the universe. So this brings up a pretty big question, right? If you've got these stable deva particles, these cosmic construction workers, how do they actually start building anything? Just being active isn't quite enough. They need a way to interact with each other. And the text introduces two really beautiful concepts to explain how. So first you have this idea called Vāk. Now, it's often translated as speech, but it's much, much broader than that. Think of it as a particle announcing itself to the universe. It's the moment its hidden qualities, its energy, its charge, its whole nature become fully expressed and outwardly active. It's not just existing anymore, it's broadcasting what it is. And that act of expression, that Vāk, directly gives rise to the second concept, chakshu. This gets translated as eye or sight, but here it means something like cosmic perception. As soon as a particle expresses its nature, that expression can now be perceived by other parts of the universe. Something that was unseen has suddenly become seeable. And this relationship, this dance between expression and perception, is what kicks the entire engine of creation into gear. It's not a random process at all, but a really logical, step-by-step chain of events. Let's just walk through it. A deva particle expresses its properties. That's Vāk. That expression allows it to be perceived. That's chakshu. And here's the crucial part. This perception gives rise to icha, which means desire or attraction. All of a sudden, these stable particles aren't just floating around anymore. They are drawn to one another. And that attraction is what finally allows them to combine and start forming the structures of the universe. Expression leads to perception. Perception causes attraction, which then enables creation. It's a perfect chain reaction. This entire framework leads to a really powerful conclusion about the nature of creation. And believe it or not, it all comes down to the immense value of a single, activated particle. The text gives us this very human analogy to explain a huge cosmic principle. And think about it, it makes perfect sense. We put our trust in what has been directly witnessed and verified. If someone says, "I saw it with my own eyes," their statement suddenly carries immense weight. What is seen, what is expressed, becomes real. It becomes trustworthy. And this brings us to the cosmic version of that principle, and it all hinges on the power of one. You could have an infinite ocean of dormant, unmanifest matter, and it would be completely useless for creation. But a single particle that has activated its properties, one that has spoken and can now be seen, is infinitely more valuable. That one particle can start everything. And it doesn't just stop with that one particle. Once that first expression and perception occurs, it acts like a catalyst. It can trigger the activation of other matter around it, starting a cascade that spreads, waking up more and more of the dormant universe. A single spark really can light a cosmic fire. So, after this whole journey, from a dormant state to a cosmic chain reaction, what's the big idea we should walk away with? When you really boil it all down, the core message is this. Creation isn't about making things from scratch, it's about waking them up. It's a universe that's just brimming with potential, where the most important event is that moment when something's inner nature is expressed, perceived, and put to work by those stable deva particles. Without that initial spark of expression, nothing happens. And that leaves us with a pretty profound final thought, doesn't it? If the entire cosmos was kickstarted by the simple act of expressing a hidden potential, it really makes you wonder, what unseen potential is still lying dormant all around us, in science, in art, even in ourselves, just waiting for the right spark of expression and perception to finally bring it to life?